Mentalist, and today I'll be playing League of Legends. First thing I want to cover is what happened to my title. Why am I naming it Elementalist Plays League of Legends in Silver 2 and Must Win Ruthless? Well, here's the thing. Yesterday, I did a bunch of matches, and I failed at a lot of them. And whether I like it or not, I played a direct role in helping our team lose, whether by making bad plays or whether by buying bad items or playing champions that are not supposed to be played in a certain way. So what does this mean? Well, right now, I think I've got a pretty good gauge in Jarvan to know how to win all the time, if not most of the time. And I know how to use Jax most of the time to win as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reset all my masteries, delete every single page that I've created, and I'm going to start from scratch. Building these masteries with the champions I have in mind. And hopefully you'll be kind of laughing at how I name and do my masteries, because sometimes it's pretty funny. And hopefully I'll remember what masteries belong to which right now. But this is 17 pages of legacy that I'm destroying right now because I just wish to do something else with it. Alright, so the first page I'm going to do is my AD page for my damage top and or ADC, because I actually really like doing ADC, and it's one of my main happier roles. So if I'm able to manage this page like that, I'll be happy. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is name it something that you think an ADC would be. Like, the name's the most important part, obviously, because it shows you what breath you're breathing into these type of ADCs. Now, I want to refrain from using things like killer or assassin or whatever. That's too normal. It's too violent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to name it something else. And I don't know what to name it right now, but I'm going to figure it out. Like Scimitar or Flash or Speed or whatever I want to call it. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know what to call it yet. But I do want to get to the games relatively quickly. And I don't want to just call it my generic 80 page, so I'm going to think of something really quick while I drink this water. Give me 10 seconds. I'll call it Underdog. And if you're wondering what that means, it's modeled after Underdog the cartoon. Let me fix this League of Legends screen so you have a little bit more... what do we call it? A little more. Oh wait, cancel that. Half LOL. There you go. Select region. So I'm gonna put it down here a little bit. Cool. Then later I could move it back up, because for the life of me I don't know why. Okay, so do half LOL properties, refresh that. Alright, so oh yeah, I need to edit the scene here too for you guys to be able to see it. Oh. No. That has to be full. Half LOL. Edit the scene of half LOL. There you go. This one's the one that's super big. Alright. Anyway. Cool beans. Everybody can see what I'm doing here? Okay, good. Cool. I think. Alright, so no. Yeah. Make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see what I'm working with. Alright, so this is the mastery tree, right? I'm gonna fix up the masteries and give it a cool name. I'm gonna give it Underdog, or No Need to Fear. No Need to Fear. Underdog. Anyway, I like to do stupid stuff like that. So, what we're going to do with the ADCs? Well, most ADCs need attack speed, obviously. I'm not going to do the double-edged sword because even though you deal more damage, the idea of ADC, unless you're Caitlyn or something, is... Caitlyn's my one exception because she could harass so much that I feel like she doesn't need the HP. She has a really long range at the beginning. She has probably the longest range at level 1. So I play Caitlyn a little bit differently than others just because she has that advantage. However, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna put this in because when somebody comes to gank you, you take an additional 1.5 damage, meaning that you can't deal as much damage as you'd like to the sustaining of the lane. I'm not sure if the same applies to Sivir or not, but I know for a fact that it doesn't apply to Caitlyn for that one reason. If you're an Ezreal or something, you have to get it up close and personal, and if two people come in on you, you're pretty much screwed. You are really good in 1v1 situations, but if you're taking more damage, you're not gonna do that well versus 1v2 or potentially 1v3 situations. And I'm saying 1v2, 1v3 because note that there is a support on your side, but I'm pretty sure if they're pro enough, they're gonna go to you. So whenever they're gonna jump on you, you're gonna take more damage. And if they get the jump on you, you're pretty much screwed because you're taking 1.5% more damage by everything. And if a Leona comes in on you or something, or if an Eve comes in on you, then you're pretty much taking more damage without dishing the damage back. So all in all, not a good idea to have this at all. So going to skip out on this for most ADCs, unless of course you're Caitlyn, which means you have an escape, you have a really long poke, you have a really long auto attack. If that's the situation, then I stay back and I poke and harass all day with my Q or my auto attack. That's why that's really good for Caitlyn specifically. And yeah, so that being said, none of this for me. Gonna do 10 attack damage at level 55 or whatever. I really like the idea that you help your allies deal more damage, but I'm just gonna go with the fact that I want to farm a little more. And gonna do the 5% extra damage below 50%. Gonna do that as well, because that's bonus attack damage by 5%, which already gives you a little bit more attack damage because off the bat you're getting more damage, right? This makes me want to sacrifice some lifesteal just so I can have a bigger, earlier game. However, sustain is very, very important, as you'll see me do ADCs, if I do ADCs within the upcoming day. Today, my goal is to get back to Silver Win because I'm not having any more of that, right? So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use that. These are the ruthless, calculating, must-win masteries and must-win runes. Because I've spent way too much time on this account already, because it's already 65 games in, I believe, and I'm not gold yet. So within the next couple of days, if I do decide to do League, I'm gonna do it in a way that I will win indefinitely, because, well, there is a chance for you to lose, but like, I'm gonna not feed as much for number one, make smart plays, stay back and get strong until late game, or if I'm a bruiser or a tank or whatever, stay back and get strong until late game, and make a difference for the team. be super tanky and force them to like recognize me as a target. Alright, so what am I going to do instead of this then? Well, health and mana regen is pretty good because if you have a Doran's Blade, this will gives you 6 health per killing unit, per killing a unit, which means Doran's Blade gives you 3 on hit, and this, if you actually last hit, you get 6. Coupled with your already 3% lifesteal, I believe. I think it's 3% because 1.5 per quintessence. So 3% plus 0. That means like out of 100, if at the base, if you have 80 damage at the beginning, which is something that you should be able to achieve relatively easily, 80 damage or 75 damage, that means 3% of that is 1% of that is what, 7 damage maybe, yeah, 7 damage. 10% of that is 7 damage. So 3% of that is about 2 or 3. So you're looking at about 2.5 life per hit. So all that added together, what does that mean? 6 health plus about 3, a little bit under 3 health, like 2 health or 2.5 around. So you have 8 health regenerated per hit, and that's a lot, especially in early game, because what you can do is if you last hit fairly well, you'll get a lot of health and mana back. Note the mana is important as well, because each last hit that you do, if you're planning to stay at bot lane for like 6 minutes, that means an extra spell in every 6 minutes. I know that doesn't seem like much, but based on your regenerative capabilities plus this one, it should help you along the way to get better results. Alright, so after that, gonna do 3 in armor and magic penetration, plus the attack speed, and finally 3% in overall increased damage. So this is kind of like the generic build for a lot of people, because this has the attack speed, brute force, attack damage, bonus attack, all this good stuff here. The thing that might help you is champion kills and assists restore 5% of health and mana. That's quite a lot. I don't know what I want to do to get one in that, but the whole idea behind this build is regenerate mana, be able to push and then go back. You get, if you kill like what, I'd say 30 minions, it's equivalent to getting 1 assist or kill, something like that. This is also pretty good as an anti-ganking mastery, because after you kill somebody and their jungle comes in, you have a little more health and mana, which potentially can make or break your escape. So that's really good. Not going to take it. I'm not going to put anything in that right now, because I'm going to be putting more in the defensive side. You want the health regen, you want to block the damage, and you want your health at maximum health. Note that in this build, you do suffer a little bit from not having mana regen. So all your spells have to be pinpoint accuracy, and you're going to have to do a little less with what you got. So this is what most ADCs would have, I feel. Even like the most popular ones like Ezreal, Lucian, everybody. Even though they use a little bit more mana, I would sacrifice the mana in order to be able to have that early game dominance. Because if I go in at level 3 and I have 3% max health, that's when I'm going to start harassing a lot, actually. Going to stay back, hang out a little bit, try to last hit, use a spell or two to last hit at level 1 or whatever. But because of their regenerative capabilities at level 1, the game is really designed for you not to be able to trade damage at level 1 unless you have a really, really good combo lane. However, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. You shouldn't play passive until level 3, because if you play passive until level 3, they can potentially punish you, and after they punish you, then you're just going to get denied. This is the anti-denial mastery. Just to put it in like layman's terms for everybody. because you get 2 health regen per 5 seconds, right? Plus you get 8 lifesteal per hit at level 1, which is huge because you don't have that much HP. If you if you do the killing blow on minion, and you get what 36 extra health plus 3% of your maximum health. Most champions, let's say, average of 500, 525, 550, right? 3% of that is around 15 extra health. And it grows with level because most champions get about 80 to 70 to 80 health per level. So every level you're gaining like minuscule amounts of health that amounts to a lot if you have the regenerative capabilities for it. So that's why I say level 3 is when you should be really piling on the harass, because whatever you do harass at level 3 or even at level 5, the longer you wait to harass, the longer you use your mana wisely, the better your lane is going to turn out overall. That's why at level 1 it's good to get a few pokes in, but you don't really do much because most of your spells deal about 80 damage. If you have a Leona support, you can potentially do 200 damage or 300 damage per one instance of all-inness, but that's not going to be enough to... Well, actually, that might be enough to set them back for a little bit. But as I was saying before, you want to save your mana to really exploit the amount of spells or the amount of harass that you can do early game. And this is just based on a small whatever paperweight mechanics, whatever you like to call it, right? So this is going to be my AD masteries. And I hate calling it ADC because a lot of times you don't really carry as an AD. You just kind of get stronger at the end, hopefully. But if there's 2 or 3 tanks on the other side, then you're pretty screwed, and you probably want to get a Blade of the Rune King plus Last Whisper and all those tank killing items. But that aside, this is a pretty good starter page, okay, for ADs. Next thing I'm gonna do is Tanky Top, or Bruiser Top, which is the walk into your face impenetrable wall jargon. So I'm gonna call this impenetrable wall. I like to call it the winning page, but that's a little conceited, and I don't like that kind of stuff. So, call it the impenetrable wall power. Impenetrable wall. Alright? So, what I want to get here. Note that because you're building defense, you could use this mastery, Enchanted Armor, because it gives you bonus magic and resistance. It doesn't give you flat magic and resistance. It works off of your runes and items, but it doesn't work off of your base magic or base armor. So that's why I want to tell people, look, hey, you have a base magic resistance and base armor, but this does not work off of that. So any ADCs that put their point into that, do not do it. It's not good for you at all. But if you're doing Bruiser and you're going to buy a piece of armor, then obviously, yeah, that one's really good for you. Alright, so that's the generic page already. What do you want as a Bruiser? Well, you're going to have to need the armor top anyway, because if you're going in versus whoever that's on the other side, you would account for A, their auto attacks, and B, because you're a solo lane, you're going to draw minion fire most of the time. What that means is it's better for you to have the armor just so you can be able to mitigate some of that damage. And that's very important. Critical strikes, reduced damage from critical strikes is pretty essential if you want to survive into the late game. But I'm talking early game dominance and early game whatever else. 5% is 10% is a lot because it turns 1,000 crit into a 900 crit, which potentially can save your life. But I'm not going to care about that right now because this build is just for walking up into people's faces and ensuring your dominance within the lane. Using champions like Jarvan, Garen, stuff like that. You might want some magic resist. This slows the effectiveness, reduce the effectiveness slow. I want the base reduction, so 4 of those and 5 magic resists. I do want to have one of these because that's very essential, especially when it comes to, let's say, going against like a Rumble or whatever top. So I'm going to leave this like this first, and depending who my opponents are, I might add that point, taking away one from Legendary Champion. You know, because 4% reduction is actually a lot, and in later games it becomes quite useful as well. And if I'm going against a Tryndamere, obviously I'm going to like take some reinforced armor, because Tryndamere works off of crit. Any champion that works off of crit, you build anti that champion, dominate your lane, and get it over with. So now, what do I want to do here? Well, because I'm in an impenetrable wall, I want usually have cooldowns reduced, because I'm going to either be relying on my spells or something of the sort. I'm going to want brute force most of the time, because I'm going to be like either Jarvan or somebody else, and I'm going to want to deal more damage to those target monsters and minions, just because in case like I don't have enough damage early game to really solidify my hit or deal damage under the tower, this is what I'm going to do to help me farm under tower and farm effectively. And this is what the winning page really should look like. Now you said, look, if you're a melee, you know you're going to be a melee, why not deal an additional 2% damage and receive an additional 1% damage? That double-edged sword is one of my favorite masteries, but for all intent and purposes right now, I'm not going to use it. I want to be able to do it, but 2 damage early game is a lot more. But after you hit about level 5 or 6, this 2% becomes, or actually even less than that, if you hit level 3, this becomes better for farming under turrets, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know about that. I might just do this right now, because that Butcher is a really useless mastery if you have damage backing you up. Butcher should be used for somebody like AP or someone who has a hard time last hitting, like most AP champions. If you're a damage champion, it should not be a problem at all. The only downside of that is taking an additional percent of extra damage means that if they play it correctly, if you see that they're harassing you while you're last hitting, you have to harass them back right away no matter what. So it forces you to play reactively instead of actually planning out and doing whatever you're going to do. But this is a really good mastery to have, just because like in later on in the game where you actually deal a little bit more damage, it becomes essential for you to have it. But because I'm playing a tank, switch it back over, the impenetrable wall. Now I'm going to make a support page, a generic support page geared towards being tanky, because I need to be a tanky support. That's just how it's going to be. So support page, or support/tanky page. Now if you're thinking about support, what do you think of? Wind beneath your wings. Let's call it that. Wind beneath wings. Alright, so what do I need to do here? Obviously, damage reduction. If you're going support and you're not buying armor, there's something wrong with you. I'm going to do that. Magic resist. I'll put 1 rank in that, because that's actually pretty good. Because you're going against 2 people, Legendary Garden becomes a must-have. So 3.5 magic resist. Oh my goodness. What do I do with this now? That becomes essential. That becomes that. Okay. So it's not that much, but, you know, perseverance actually helps you quite a bit just to sustain yourself in lane. Now, what am I going to do with the masteries, because I really want to have the culinary mastery, etc. Note that I'm not going to do that here, because I really, although it'll be really, you get a big advantage by going utility, I'm going to go cooldown reduction, this, let's see, not sure if I want to deal additional damage. So this is what's essential here. Deal more damage while take more damage, no. And I need mana regen probably, which is important. Recall 1% faster movement overall would be good. Or actually trinket and recall is actually really good. Reduce the recall by 1 second, get there back faster, get it back faster. Or if you have 1% movement speed, you can actually just do that. Go faster overall. And supports, you really actually need the movement speed because you want to get in and get out faster. Plant the wards quick and get out. So this is what I have geared towards support. Just a really tanky support type playstyle, especially for Tarek. So I'm going to keep it like this here for now. I'm going to go do my jungle page. Note that when I'm doing the jungle page, whoever I'm deciding to use the jungle for, assassin or not, I'm going to make it so that I'm able to jungle very, very effectively and pretty fast. So which means putting some in utility, putting one here. You need 9 for that, so summoner spells, this. Alright, so that looks pretty good for me right here. For that I need this as well, Butcher, because minions and monsters. Reduce 2 damage taken by monsters. Health regen 1 in that for sure. Mostly attack speed or cooldown reduction. Because you get cooldown reduction from your golem the first time around, I'm not sure if this is too good, to be honest. So I'm going to go for attack speed. Every time I kill a unit, it replaces mana. Need the attack damage. And do I want to be an executioner? Here's the main point. Because I have 6 masteries left available. You can put that into being tanky. You want to expose weakness because when you gank, you want your teammates to do additional damage for sure. And here's the thing. You can actually have a double-edged sword mastery here because it actually does a lot more damage for minions because it's an additional damage. So that leaves me with 4 points, which is perfect for having this. This is a little bit of everything. It doesn't really... I'm not going to use this build for like an assassin type that melee, but this is actually pretty good as an overall mastery page. So what I want to call this, Amazonian forest, or just the Amazon. I'll be an Amazon here, and that should be pretty good. So these fill up pretty much the rows that I want, and I'm gonna finally put an AP page up as well. So let's call this, I don't know what to call AP. Magic missile, magic damage. Like, I don't know. I called my masteries Burt Wonderstone because I actually liked the movie, but now I don't like it as much anymore, or it's not as relevant. So I need to change that as well. So what do I call it? Something that does ability power, ability. Toothless. Because I always felt that How to Train Your Dragon was really good. So call it Toothless. Because the dragon has no teeth until he bares his fangs, which is kind of like what AP champions do, right? So cooldown reduction, obviously, I'm going to get the Butcher there, need health and mana restoration, increases damage, dangerous game, all that, plus ability power on that. So, what do I take away from that? Do I want... Yeah, I'm going to take that away because that doesn't really matter. For AP champions, I think because they're staying in the back and just using your spells, you could do the deal 2 additional damage. But note that if you're engaging and their jungle comes, you are infinitely squishier than if you didn't have. No bueno. What I'm gonna do here is because AP's. I might change this up a little bit because most of the times I do resort to buying Azania's Hourglass, and that might help a lot. But in terms of early game dominance, this is the build that you should go for. The question remains though, is that actually really effective? I always think that is very effective. But because of the fact that, I'm gonna be smart with my mana and manage it like that, I'm just gonna try to do this as much as I can. So Toothless, let's change up the page for our runes now too, because it's a little bit outdated, right? So let's see. Physical damage. Do I have any armor marks? Nope. So I'm gonna go with physical damage as Ward Duck. All-seeing ass. All-seeing jerk. Eyes everywhere. Eyes everywhere. And that's... I don't have the masteries for support, or I don't have the runes for support, so I'm just going to make do with 9 armor, 9 magic resistance. And what the heck? Where's this mana regen at? I don't need no mana regen. Screw that. Give me more magic resist. Because I want to stay alive in lane. Maybe I need some mana regen. I don't know. We'll see. Physical damage times 1. That's really funny. Alright, so save this new set. Burt Wonderstone. Gonna do... Oh, Toothless is one set. What goes good with Toothless? It's a dragon that breathes fire. I have the power. I always thought He-Man was kind of fabulous, even though he's really like super tanky, whatever. Glorious, fabulous secret powers were revealed to me. Okay, fabulous secret powers. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held up the sword and said, I have the power. Okay, good. And I blitz. I always like my packet punch one, but I've used it quite a lot, so I feel like Hadouken is a little bit more magic, and Shoryuken is actually the physical, ridiculous physical damage that it has. So lifesteal bonus, magic resist 12, 7.6 damage, a little bit of armor pen, 1 crit chance just to troll people. I think what I need is, let's see, 0.6 mana regen per 5 seconds. I like flat mana regen, it might be a little better, but I'm going to sacrifice 2 for this. So it'll be what? Huh? Cooldown reduction. No. There you go. So 1.2 mana regen per 5 seconds. It's not as good as 3 mana regen for 5 seconds, but 2 of these at level 2 or 3. If you manage your mana to level 3, it should be good, because points... Oh no, it's not even... It's 0.1. It's not even 1 mana regen. You get 1 mana regen at level whatever. So 0.6 is 0.12. Well, that is total crap. Because you want 3 mana regen at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is, I have IP. I'm probably just going to buy the flat magic mana regen. Yo, I know. Come on. Runes. Mana regen runes. Seal. Glyph. Mana. Energy. Mana regen per 5 seconds. So that would be 1 per 5 seconds if I had 3 of them. That's so much magic resist to give up though, especially if you're squishy. Whatever, I'm gonna do 3. 1 is better than none, I guess. hopefully there wouldn't be as much magic resist. Eight magic is still pretty good. Okay, good. So put 3 in here, so you get 1 mana regen. 0.99 per 5 seconds. That makes me so sad. Alright, so that looks like a really good starting page right now. I can't give up any more armor because they nerfed the armor. Now it's only 1 armor, whereas before it was 1.3. So right now, if you need mana, tough luck. It's called mana management. You might just get a sword or something that gives you a little bit of mana in the beginning to give you some more dominance, but that's about it. Hopefully, well, that just rely. If you do that, you could just rely on the support for mana, right? So, all right, that's gonna be my runes and masteries. Finally, it's done. It only took about an hour of explanation. So that's that. Hope you all enjoyed.